Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel with me, Matthew Morgan. Once again, this video is proudly sponsored by the British Shooting Show. The dates have been released. It is Valentine's weekend again, so all you guys, you can get down there, treat yourself to a new gun before you treat the missus. Thanks everyone that's already liked and subscribed to the channel. We hope you're enjoying the content. If you do like the videos and you haven't already hit subscribe, do give us a thumbs up and a subscribe because we do appreciate your support. Don't forget to recommend us to your shooting friends. After all, if you've been out shooting, blasting a few clays on a Sunday, what better way to spend your Sunday evening than watching me waffle about old guns? Right, something a bit different today. Regular viewers of the channel will know that I am a massive Miroku fan. I've already thought about changing my middle name to Miroku many times. Today we're going to look at a couple more of the Australian guns that we like to bring here at Eastfield Gunroom, mainly because they're so different to what is on offer here in the UK. We have looked at a used old MK10 trap gun before, and then most recently the MK10 side plates. If you haven't seen that video or those videos, do check those out. But these are the bang up-to-date versions of the MK10 Black Edition. There's quite a few differences between these, and like I said, the UK models, particularly the MK38. So we're going to dive in. I've got a trap gun and a sporter here on the table, so we're going to look at the differences. Particularly what I want to talk about is I've had a lot of people come to me recently with kind of gun fit issues, and when I show them the difference between the dimensions of a trap and a sporting stock, they are flabbergasted, particularly when it's something like an MK38, when action and barrels are so similar. Right, so let's get into it. These have just landed from good old Australia, where I'd imagine it's a lot warmer. We've got an MK10 Black Edition trap and an MK10 Black Edition sporter. I'm going to start with the trap gun. Like I said, this is a non-UK spec only model. The only way to really get your hands on one of these is potentially through yours truly. Now, what you'll notice straight away, it is the deep body action that we all know and love, that, you know, just screams reliability, durability. I'm not saying that the 725 low profile action on the 725, 825, MK11 isn't good, but this is certainly more of a proven design. So onto the action design, and it's completely different to anything we get here in the UK and completely different to the previous MK10 model that we looked at. So here in the UK, the grade one has got that kind of very fine scroll work. It's almost like an oval shape. It's been the same for decades. The grade 3, of course, has got a much more ornate kind of foliate style, and then of course right up to the grade 5 where you've got the hand finish, very deep cut scroll work. If you're not a fan of all that swirly nonsense, then this is going to be attractive to you. It's a very plain basic design. What it does is it's got the design of a clay in the background with some swirly stuff. It's almost like Miroku have given it to a 5-year-old and said, draw me a shotgun action. But for many, that will appeal because it's all about what the gun does rather than how it looks. So we've got the clay on the side. On the underneath, we've got BC Miroku MK10 Sport, which is interesting because, of course, this is a trap gun. That just goes to show they use the same actions for both of these models. And onto the trigger guard, it looks like we've got two dolphins chasing each other in a whirlpool, but it's actually just a swirly thing, which I really like. You look at most Mirokus, they've got some kind of traditional scroll. This is a bit more off the wall, different, and like I said, that will appeal to a lot of people. On the bottom plate, which again you would normally get some traditional scroll on the grade 5, for example, we have just got a series of little circular things that are a bit like a clay. Onto the other side of the action, same again, it's the clay coming out this kind of vortex of Bermuda Triangle design, which, like I said, I don't find offensive. I think it fits in nicely with the fact that this gun is all about, like I said, durability, reliability. It's got that longevity reputation, and it's not about, in this case, the fanciness. So onto the top lever, and this is one of my favourite things about these guns. What Miroku have done here for the Australian market is they've gone back to the 80s and they have put the traditional black Miroku top lever, which again, you won't get here in the UK. You will get the satin brush finish, which is exactly the same as the action, which although it looks uniform, I just think the black or blued version just gives it that really classic feel. Backstrap and safety, exactly as you would with a normal Miroku, deep bodied gun. The only difference is they have slightly shorter serial numbers in Australia, which will be handy because shotguns, if you get to getting smaller and smaller in the UK. So we swizzle it around and we're back to where the trigger guard was with the two mating dolphins, and we have got a similarity here between a UK spec gun and this model. It is, of course, the standard grey finish checkered adjustable trigger blade that Miroku have been using for decades on the MK38, for example. Remember, the MK60 and MK70 hasn't got an adjustable trigger. Believe it or not, I haven't actually looked fully in the box with these guns, so it may come with extra triggers, it may not. Stay tuned. Right, Onto the barrels. Now you will notice that this gun has got ventilated barrels. Here in the UK, regardless of what you buy, MK38, MK60, MK70, MK11, you will not get ventilated barrels. They have all got solid center ribs. However, I hear you scream at the television or your tablet or your iPhone, whatever. The MK38 competition, which is a gun we have reviewed, so do check that out, does have ventilated barrels. It is the first gun to ever hit UK soil, which is designed for the UK market, that's got ventilated barrels. If you do want ventilated barrels in the UK, you've got one of them. So the rib is 10mm parallel. We've seen it before. It's brilliant. It works. Everybody loves it. 10mm parallel, centre bead with a tram line, white foresight bead. Traditionally, with an MK38 here in the UK, you get a slightly larger bead on the trap gun than the Sporter. Correct me if it's the other way around. Not entirely sure because I haven't got my micrometer out and measured these yet. So now I'll take the barrels off and we can talk about the all-important bores, etc. Now this gun is factory Invector Plus multi-choked. So that will mean, of course, we have got 18.7 bores. It's 3-inch chambers. It's steel shot proof. We have that done here in the UK. If you look here, you can see there's a slight bit missing in the middle of the center rib. I had a customer only yesterday with a 2009 MK38. That was one of the really, really heavy scaffolding pole sporters where you had the full width rib, and that gun actually weighed almost 9 pounds, and we still had to put some lead in the back to balance it. So what you've got here with that extra bit of floating and the ventilated barrels is essentially a much better balancing gun out the box. So ventilated barrels, we've got blue barrel wings, no engine turning, but of course if you get something like a grade 1 or a grade 3 here in the UK, you wouldn't get engine turning anyway. And let's not forget, that is another cosmetic thing on top of the action engraving, which is not what this gun's about. Onto the business end. Like I said, Invector Plus multi-chokes, so whatever you want to put in there, they'll come with a selection of flush chokes, but if you want to put in Briley's, Teagues, Bellec chokes, stay tuned for those. It's your pleasure. Gun itself available in 30 and 32-inch barrels. Now I'm going to pop it back together. And before we go into the stock, we will of course do the obligatory balance test. This gun weighs 8 pounds 12 ounces, and as you can see, out of the box, right on the hinge pin, absolutely spot on. Mega. Now you wouldn't probably get that, certainly with a grade 5 MK38, because of, like I said, the density of the ward and the weight of the barrels. You might get it with a grade 1, but again, to get a gun that balances like that out of the box is exactly what everybody wants, because they want to be able to manipulate the weight and get the gun to do what they want to do. Right, now onto the woodwork. Now this is my favourite bit of this gun. So straight away, if you know anything about shotgun stocks, you will notice that comb is almost parallel. It actually measures and gives 30-36. Now what that means for the shooter, now this, remember, is of course a trap gun, but you could use it for sporting. It's got multi-chokes, it's got a single selective trigger, got an adjustable trigger, it's got a good amount of weight. You could even take it game shooting. Stay tuned, people, I am going to tell you what I mean. So with this 30-36, what you're doing is you're taking all those variables out in terms of an inconsistent gun mount, because you've almost got a parallel comb. If you put your head near the back of the stock or near the front of the stock, you will almost get the same sight picture, whereas with a conventional sporting shotgun stock, you've got 20mm of drop to overcome. So what I mean by that is just go side on. If I mount it there, or if I mount it there, badly, the sight picture is almost identical because there is so little variation in the degree of drop, which is excellent if you've got an inconsistent gun mount. What I also like is we've got a nice big fat chunky comb, which again aids the balance of the gun. We've got a really nice palm swell. Again, you will not get this on MK38 in the UK. They all come with no palm swells. They come with thinner combs and they come with a bit more drop on them. And to finish off, we have got 15 inches length of pull with a 20mm Patmeyer pad, which of course has got the correct amount of pitch for a trap shooting gun. The wood itself, this is an interesting point, it's sort of grade 3, grade 4 European walnut, but what's interesting, it doesn't have the lacquered finish that you will get with a basic grade Miroku here in the UK, neither has it got that kind of shiny finish that you get with the higher grade. It's almost raw. Obviously it's been sealed and filled, whatever, but what it does there is it gives the owner the opportunity to finish it exactly how they want, whether they want it shiny, whether they want it matte finish. I think they look really good, matte finish, but don't forget you need to put some kind of protection on if you're going to be shooting when it's peeing down all the time. Checkering, again, completely different. With all the Mirokus here in the UK, we get double point. What we've got here is we've got a traditional Browning GTS, I think, checkering design. You probably don't know what the hell that is, but I will review one at some point, so keep watching the channel. So it's got this curly bit at the top, which goes into the back of the stock nicely. It gives you a nice bit of grip. It goes all the way over the top. And of course, in the bottom of the pistol grip, something else we don't get, we have got the famous Miroku badge in the bottom of the pistol grip. So should you forget which gun's yours and you can only look at the pistol grips, you'll know. Right, onto the forend. Again, we've got a different bit of information here for you. The traditional MK38 forend, like you get on the MK38 competition or the MK38 trap, or even if you order yourself a sporter, special order with a beaver tail, will be different because it'll be the very, very wide version, not the narrow semi-beaver tail we've got here. It's very similar to the 75 Pro Sport, very similar to the XS Pro, but what it does without having that super bulbous thing on the front, for me, it makes the gun just a bit more universal. And finally, the checkering is again a Browning design, so it has got the double point towards the action end of the gun, but it's also got the rounded edge, very similar to the current XS Pro model. So that's the trap gun. Let's have a quick look at the Sporter and make a comparison. Now, I'm sure you'll all be going, that's got the adjustable comb system that Matt hates on it. You'd be absolutely right. But apart from that, this gun's great. So as you can see, this is an MK10 Black Edition Sporter. So what we've got is we've got an identical gun in terms of the action design. The mating dolphins are still there. We've still got the checkered trigger. We've still got the blue barrel wings, which one thing I didn't mention, this has just caught my aged eyes. On the actual barrel wing itself, you've also got one of these curly badges like you have on the bottom, which I think is quite a nice touch to have that, and then it blued over the top. Very, very subtle. Nice one, Miroku. Barrels, again, this one's a 30-inch. They're also available in 32-inch. So what you'll find with this, I would imagine, we'll take the forend off just to check, is we'll also have the floating bit at the back, which of course we have there. So that will mean that these barrels will be very, very similar. The ribs exactly the same. They've got the same chokes, the 3-inch chambers, the steel shot proofed, all that kind of stuff. So the barrels, there's going to be very, very little variation between the two, apart from the obvious one, which of course the trap gun we showed you is 2 inches longer. So onto the stock, and we've got some obvious differences and some less obvious ones. So you're probably saying the trap gun's got a thicker pad on. You'd be right. That's got a 20mm Patmeyer decelerated pad on. This one has got a 15mm on. However, the length of pull is exactly the same, which means if you did want to put a great big extension on the back of a Sporter, it wouldn't lock a dog's dinner. Factory adjustable comb, yes, I'm not a fan of this adjustable comb, but what I will say is the stock dimensions are completely different to that of an equivalent, something like a Browning 525, which is one of the guns that uses this comb system, and of course the pre-2019 Ultra XS Pro. This again has almost no drop on it whatsoever. Had a customer in the other day, very inconsistent gun mount. We looked at tons of guns. The gun was always out the top of his shoulder pocket. So in the end, we settled for this because of the fact that he could work with it and develop his mount because he was such a new shooter. So 7 or 8mm drop, again, nothing, almost parallel, really like that. Same grade of wood, same finish. So you've almost got this kind of raw finish. You can do what you like with it, put some linseed on it, put some wax on it, make it as shiny as you like. The choice is yours. Same Miroku pistol grip badge on the bottom, and the checkering, we've gone back to the traditional kind of double point that you would get on all Miroku Sporters and trap guns here in the UK. Palm swell the same as the trap gun, but it's not as severe because it's not as thick a piece of wood. It's not as chunky in the grip, so much more subtle if you like. And of course, the forend, amazingly, is exactly the same in terms of the checkering design. One thing I will point out is we've got nothing going on the forend iron or catch. They are completely brushed and completely plain. This gun, slightly lighter than the trap gun, as you would expect. It's 30-inch, has less wood in it. So we've got 8 pound 8 ounces, but once again, look at the balance out of the box. This is a really, really good all-rounder, regardless of the barrel length you go for. And also, an interesting point, you can also get these in factory left hand with a left-hand palm swell. You cannot buy a Miroku here in the UK with a factory left-hand palm swell. So those are the guns, and these are the boxes. As I said at the start, I've not actually gone through these properly. Here in the UK, we have different models of Miroku. We have different specification. You might get different chokes, different triggers. So it'll be exciting to see what's inside these grey boxes of joy. So Polystyrene, genuine Japanese cardboard, and straight away we've got a slightly different manual to what we would normally get with an MK38 because of course we've got the addition of the word MK10. That manual will be exactly the same cover to cover as you'll get with an MK38, a 60 or a 70 because of course let's not forget that in terms of the mechanics, the action, the barrels, the inertia operation, it's exactly the same. There's also a smaller silver box of joy. So inside here we have got, this is quite interesting. So straight away we've got a choke key design that I've never ever seen with any Browning or Miroku here in the UK. It's not that crappy flat piece of metal you get with an MK11. It's not the usual T-bar we get with the XS Pro and all that kind of stuff. It's a very different looking choke key. Seems substantial, it's steel, so happy days. Then we've got Invector Plus chokes. We've got 3 additional ones. I would deduce from that, of course, we've got a cylinder quarter, half, 3/4 full. We've got an Allen key to adjust the trigger, and then we've got 3 positions on the trigger in terms of adjustability. And interestingly enough, we have got spare triggers. Now, if you buy one of these here in the UK, they will cost you more than feeding a family of 8 at McDonald's. They are quite an expensive thing to buy. No, with the MK38, remember that's the only gun in the Miroku range that's got an adjustable trigger. Comes with spare ones. Browning keep them for themselves. We've got an inspection certificate from Mr. Adachi, the chief inspector at the Miroku factory, just to say he's had a look at, this is the one for the MK10 Sporter with adjustable comb. He's confirmed it's all happy, it's been pressure proof, that kind of stuff. And it also says what chokes are supplied in the gun, which on this occasion is 1/4 3/4, and that is backed up by the label on the outside of the box. Onto the trap gun. I suspect it will be very similar, but we'll have a look. So we've got some genuine polystyrene and cardboard. We've also got the MK10 manual. So all the stuff this time comes in a bag. Very exciting, like opening my sandwiches. Hope there's a Freddo in there. So you've got the new style booklet, which is also worth mentioning. If you look back at the pistol grip, the old traditional Miroku logo, been around since the 70s to my knowledge, we've now got this new one, which looks like the inside of a slinky with some slightly different font. Nice. Into the box of Silver Joy. It's no shock, it's exactly the same. So we've got this new style choke key that I've never seen before. We've got the addition of the 3 extra Invector Plus chokes. And again, which is a really nice little touch, we've got the 2 spare triggers. So we've got the skinny trigger, the slightly bent one, and of course the checkered one that is on the gun. And finally, no shock here, we've got a proof certificate from the same man. He's a busy man at Miroku, this Mr. Adachi. MK10 Sport Black Edition trap, 32-inch. What chokes are fitted, and of course the serial number just to show it's been proof tested for accuracy and pattern and all of the necessary tests over in Japan. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the kind of comparison for the MK10 Black Edition. It's a comparison between what is available over the pond versus what's available here in the UK, but also a comparison between the 2 versions we've got here, the trap and the sporter. There is also a really cool high rib trap gun which we'll bring to you in a later video. If you've got any questions about these particular guns, please do contact me directly. Details are on the screen. Don't forget to check out the website. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you do enjoy the videos. Look forward to hearing your thoughts on these. You might be an MK38 owner. You might go, wow, mine doesn't balance like that. Get in touch. Let's have a talk about these. And from me and the Aussie Delights, I'll see you next time.